Live, KVRR Local News at 8 is on right now.
Remains identified as a missing Minnesota mother this morning. Find out what's next now that her ex-boyfriend is behind bars.
Governor Burgum hits the presidential campaign trail as the Republican leading the polls says he's been indicted over classified documents.
A beloved sculpture is back 8 months after it went missing. See where they found it.
And the rest of the state gets the chocolate-covered scoop on the Metro's history with ice cream. It's dilly bar time.
Live, KVRR Local News at 8 is on right now.
Dilly Dilly, it's Friday.
That's right.
Good morning. It's just after 8 a.m. Thanks for joining us for your only local news from 7 to 9. I'm Adam Ladwig.
And I'm Emily Welker, and I think it's officially ice cream weather out there today.
Oh, yeah. Even though today and the next couple of days are going to be cooler than what we've seen, still plenty warm enough for some ice cream. I mean,
and then it doesn't melt as fast.
Yeah, we go out on March 1st in blizzards to get ice cream from the Moorhead Dairy Queen, so
Some of you do.
No, I did. It's tradition. You got to do it. Let's start off the hour with a check of the weather with meteorologist Mariah Bush. Mariah, how fast would you have to eat some ice cream today before it melts?
I would say not too fast, but for me, I eat ice cream at any time of the year too, so hey, it's fine with me. But Fargo, if you're waking up this morning, temperatures as of right now right around 71 degrees, and we are seeing, again, some clouds to start your Friday, and even some light rain showers did work their way through portions of the metro this morning. And as you're heading through the afternoon, we're going to take a quick look here onto I-94 east of Fargo this morning. Traffic seems to be doing pretty good this morning. I know earlier in the beginning of the week there was some that was already backed up by this time, but as you're heading through the rest of your day, you're going to have some of those isolated showers to deal with as you're heading through your Friday afternoon. This is just after about 4. Overall, the metro is looking fairly clear. It looks like things are going to develop around the metro, but if you're in Grand Forks, north of Grand Forks, you are looking at some of those showers that may be heavy at times, and especially if you're working your way towards southeast North Dakota today. So again, through Oaks, through Valley City, through Jamestown, you are looking at some of those heavy downpours that will be working their way through your afternoon, but things do clear out fairly quickly, and looks like we'll clear out to a partly cloudy to mostly clear night with a few lingering showers just through west central Minnesota. But overall, nothing too widespread and not too much you have to worry about, but you do want to stay weather aware and keep that umbrella with you. But northeast North Dakota today, 79 for the highs today into Devil's Lake, 84 in Grand Forks. Northern Minnesota, you'll have those light rain showers as well. Temperatures in the lower 80s, 83 in Monoma today, 82 in Thief River Falls. West central Minnesota, temperatures mostly in the 80s as well, 81 into Detroit Lake, 77 into Alexandria, and 81 in Breckenridge. And once you're getting towards southeast North Dakota, they may see some of that heavier rain, especially through Ellendale, through Jamestown, and portions of Oaks today. But 80 for the high today in Oaks, 81 in Wahpeton, and 82 in Valley City. On your KVRR Weather Authority 7-day forecast, as you're heading through your weekend, your Saturday is going to set up fairly nice, a high of 79. And then once you're getting through Sunday, it'll be cooler as well, but still pretty comfortable. 76 for the high on Sunday, and you'll see that nice, comfortable weather does take you into the start of your new work week on Monday with a high of 82. And then by the time you're heading through Wednesday and Thursday, we are going to gradually get warmer, eventually reaching the 90s once again on Thursday. A warm and toasty start to Thursday, 92 for the high into the afternoon.
Thank you, Mariah. After 7 months of searching, investigators have found the remains of Madeline Kingsbury, a Minnesota woman who disappeared after dropping her kids off at daycare.
Reg Chapman has the latest.
To say the least, the last 69 days have been frustrating, full of heartache and pain for the family, law enforcement, and the community.
More than 2,000 family, friends, and volunteers of the mother of two searched in and around the city of Winona for any signs of her. Madeline Kingsbury's closest friends gathered at City Hall to hear the latest about a body found about an hour out of town.
Law enforcement has confirmed the remains are those of Madeline Kingsbury.
They wiped tears away as more information about Maddie was shared.
Her body was found by a Fillmore County investigator on a remote stretch of road off Highway 43 north of Mabel. The area had been previously searched, but Maddie's body was covered and concealed in such a manner that she was not visible.
Winona Police Chief Tom Williams says the last person to see Maddie alive, the father of her children, Adam Fravel, was arrested hours later.
We have said that we will hold anyone involved in Madeline's disappearance accountable, and we are here to tell you that we will hold steadfast on that commitment.
Her closest friend, the one who called authorities when she didn't show up for work, says support from the community is still needed.
Keep your lights on. Support us through the trial. It's going to be a rough one.
And new this morning, charges are pending following an assault involving juveniles outside the Grand Forks Public Library Thursday afternoon. Police responded shortly before 4 to a disturbance involving a firearm. Several witnesses described a fight involving several people. One of the suspects had a gun and hit another person in the head, causing a laceration. The victim was treated at Altru's ER and released. The firearm believed to have been used was recovered.
All suspects are juveniles. They've been identified. Police say charges are being filed for terrorizing, aggravated assault, and minor in possession of a firearm. The Grand Forks Police Criminal Investigation Bureau's been called in to assist in the case. Anybody who's got information or anybody who saw the incident is asked to contact the police.
Also new this morning, market watchers are glad to see stocks are done hibernating. Wall Street ended its bear market due to a strong performance on Thursday.
John Lawrence reports.
Wall Street is back to being bullish. Due to a late rally Thursday, the S&P ended the day in bull market territory for the first time since January 2022. In layman's terms, a bull market is an extended period of time when investment prices are climbing or getting worked up like a bull in front of a red carpet. Analysts say this boost comes from major gains in tech stocks, the end of the debt ceiling crisis, and a string of recent strong economic readings. However, this bull market might be metaphorically skating on thin ice. Some market watchers fear this could be a short-lived rally, citing high costs as a big concern.
Inflation is cutting into every single family in their budgets across the nation.
And political tensions in Washington, D.C. could make the matter cloudy.
We have to reach a spending agreement so that the needs of the American people can be reached. But right now, there is no activity happening in the Congress because of the extreme nature of the House Republican Conference.
Some experts say the length of this bull market is also likely dependent on the Federal Reserve and its interest rate policy decision next week. Economists say if the Fed skips a hike next month, markets will likely keep climbing. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
In other economic news, middle-income home seekers in the U.S. are having trouble finding a place to buy. The National Association of Realtors and Realtor.com says these consumers can't afford more than 3/4 of the listings out on the market. Well, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum is out on the campaign trail for president this morning. After making his announcement in Fargo Wednesday, the Republican two-term governor is now campaigning in Iowa through today. You know, that state's home to the first in the nation Republican caucuses.
On Saturday and Sunday, he'll be in New Hampshire, which hosts the first GOP primary. He's taking on a crowded field of around a dozen Republicans, including former President Donald Trump and former Vice President Mike Pence. Burgum appeared on CNN this morning talking about what is missing in the race.
One of the things that we think is missing in this race is people actually talking about the issues that are the most important issues to the most number of people. And of course, that is the economy. Inflation is cutting into every single family in their budgets across the nation. Gas prices are too high. That directly relates to energy policy.
Burgum's predecessor, former Governor Jack Dalrymple, acknowledged that Burgum faces a tremendous challenge, but said he's taken on big challenges throughout his life and surprised everyone with his success. And Donald Trump, speaking of, says he has been indicted on charges of mishandling classified documents at his Florida estate. The development makes him the first former president in U.S. history to face criminal charges by the federal government that he once oversaw. The indictment carries unmistakably grave legal consequences, including the possibility of prison if he is convicted.
But it also comes with enormous political implications, potentially upending a Republican presidential primary that Trump had been dominating. And it sets the stage for a sensational trial centered on claims that he willfully and illegally hoarded sensitive national security information. The Justice Department didn't immediately confirm this indictment publicly.
The two juveniles are flown to a Fargo hospital after they crashed while leading authorities on a chase in Mahnomen County. The sheriff says the chase, which hit 113 miles per hour, happened Tuesday morning just after 3. One juvenile male was thrown from the vehicle near Mahnomen. 3 other occupants, including a juvenile male, a female, and a 21-year-old Alexander Golier of Mahnomen, who was the driver. Golier was evaluated and taken to jail. Officers learned that one or more of the people involved in the wreck had burglarized several businesses in Otter Tail, Minnesota earlier in the night.
A Tifton, Georgia man is headed to prison soon this morning after he pleaded guilty in federal court in Fargo to conspiracy to transport illegal immigrants. 39-year-old Rodolfo Arzola Carrillo was sentenced to 1.5 years in prison. He was arrested back in November after he was found with a group of 7 suspected illegal immigrants from Mexico, including 2 kids. It was in northeast North Dakota. The plan fell apart when the bitter cold, snow, and wind caused the group to call for help from the Palmetto County Sheriff's Office, who came to their aid and then alerted the U.S. Border Patrol. A co-defendant is set for a change of plea and sentencing coming up in August.
They're looking for a new police chief in Valley City this morning after Chief Phil Hatcher suddenly resigned. The city commission approved his resignation. Hatcher told them his family was finally, quote, able to get their 3rd daughter graduated through high school, so it's just time to look for new opportunities, unquote. The resignation is effective August 4th. The search process for finding a new chief begins immediately. Hatcher has been the police chief in Valley City since 2016. Well, Mariah, it's a pretty gloomy looking Friday morning. I mean, it doesn't look good if you want some weekend fun, but will things improve?
Yeah, Adam, we are dealing with the clouds and the rain showers this morning, but things are definitely going to clear out and look a bit better by the time we're heading through our afternoon, but I'll keep you up to date right here in about 1 minute.
You're watching KVRR Local News, where local news comes first.
Good morning, Moorhead. It is currently 8:12 and you're waking up to a nice beginning to your morning. This is currently 8th Street at Concordia. This morning looks like they did have some construction. They have some of those cones off to the side, but traffic is moving through pretty well at this intersection as you're heading through your day today. The temperature's not quite popping up, but we are seeing temperatures mostly in the upper 60s to 70s as of right now throughout portions of our metro. And here is a time lapse of Devil's Lake last night. They did have some of those overnight and early afternoon showers and storms, so let's take a look here. It is captured on the time lapse. Things are off a pretty breezy start in Devil's Lake, but then that rain begins to come down. Looks like you can't see really much behind the banner, but someone was caught outside in the rain there. But as you're heading back through your day, things did get a bit calmer and cleared out to a mostly calm night, but looks like some of those street roads were still wet, and we are waking up to some of those showers pushing across parts of the region, and we are going to see some of those showers and storms working their way further south today as well. So a mostly sunny afternoon, but eventually we are going to see some of those isolated storms and showers once again, mostly setting up through Jamestown, through Ellendale, and into Oaks. It's going to be the heaviest portions of that rain. And once you're working through Minnesota, they are going to see some of those light showers as well today. But highs across the region, 84 today in Fargo, 79 into Fergus Falls, 82 today in Langdon, and 81 out in Jamestown. So still not a bad start to your weekend, and things will continue to get better as we're heading through your Saturday and even on Sunday. A cooler weekend overall, but Sunday seeing a high of 76 and even 50s to start out your early Monday morning. We haven't seen those around in quite some time, but temperatures will mostly rise to about 82 on your Monday afternoon, and eventually we're back on that warming trend, reaching the 90s by the end of our next week.
Okay, so our little cool off reprieve from the heat is going to be short-lived.
It is, so you want to head out and enjoy it.
Yes, enjoy it while you can. Thanks, Mariah. A big shift in weather patterns appears to be underway, and we're not just talking about next week's heat.
All right, we've got details in today's Ag Day Minute.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. Forecasters say an El Nino weather pattern has officially arrived. NOAA says it formed a month or two earlier than most El Ninos do, and it says there's a 56% chance it will be considered strong and a 25% chance it reaches supersized levels. Now, experts say this could change the weather picture significantly, with areas that have faced drought flipping the opposite way. During an El Nino, the southern U.S. may experience cooler and wetter weather, while parts of the U.S. Pacific Northwest and Ohio Valley could be warmer and drier. It may also help keep hurricanes in the Atlantic at bay. The CDC says a salmonella outbreak linked to flour is now over. The outbreak was linked to Gold Medal brand flour from a production facility in Kansas City. At least 14 people in 13 states were infected. General Mills recalled 4 varieties of the flour in April when salmonella contamination was suspected. Now, officials say while the outbreak investigation has finished, people should still throw away or return any recalled bags of flour. And Taco Bell says it's testing a vegan version of its popular Crunch Wrap. It's a plant-based protein topped with 2 vegan sauces wrapped in a crunchy tostada shell. Right now, it's being sold in New York City, Hollywood, and Orlando. Taco Bell says nearly a quarter of its sales last year came from vegetarian options. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or anytime at agweb.com.
Well, expanding metro area needs expanded healthcare options to keep up.
We're going to take you to a new clinic that will improve healthcare access for a rapidly growing community. Next.
Moorhead Public Service is hearing public comments this morning about their surface water intake protection plan for the Red River of the North.
The planning started back in 2020 with the purpose of tackling water monitoring and protection on a larger scale. KVRR's Aaron Walling reports.
Really what we're trying to do is keep the Red River as clean and pristine as we possibly can.
A new plan by the Moorhead Public Service is set to be approved by the city. It's a surface water intake protection plan for the Red River of the North.
This plan is intended and designed to either mitigate or reduce the level of different types of contaminants that can potentially get into the Red River of the North.
The plan was worked on by MPS and the Minnesota Department of Health with the goal to educate, monitor, and protect the quality of water.
We're looking at it from a drinking water perspective, so we're looking for things like nutrient loading, turbidity, total hardness, things that we have to remove at the water treatment plant to bring the raw water from the river up to drinking water standards.
The river is vital for the area. It provides 75 to 80% of the water used by residents, according to MPS, while the rest is made up by the Moorhead and the Buffalo aquifers.
Obviously, the clean water is very important, whether we're cooking or bathing. Things that can be in the water without proper treatment or taking care ahead of time.
And experts say taking the quality and protection of water seriously is of importance.
Talking about something that might be a heavy metal or something like that that's in the water as opposed to, biological or bacteria. So obviously knowing some more things about the water that you're drinking is very important.
Moorhead commissioners will be meeting later this month and are set to approve the plan. Reporting in Moorhead, Aaron Walling, KVRR Local News.
Public comment is slated to run through June 27th. Pollinators, bees, are vital to our ecosystem. They help our native plant species from going extinct by spreading their pollen, but bee populations have been shrinking. And this morning, dozens of kids are helping keep the bees around by making their very own pollinators happy at West Fargo Public Library.
Kids got to decorate a clay flower pot filled with flower seeds to bring home. They also learned about the flowers, how pollinators work, and their importance to the environment. The event tied in with the summer theme of All Together Now.
Yeah, it's great to see the kids kind of have fun and learn, use their creative skills as well. So kind of combining all of those things in one program is really exciting. And they kind of get to hit on all facets of, art and science and learning about things while having fun doing that too.
West Fargo Public Library will host the Blanket Makin' for Project Linus on Saturday, where they will make 100 blankets to donate to kids in need. It goes from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. And the Garden Wheel is back home this morning. The sculpture that was taken from the North Dakota Museum of Art in Grand Forks sometime last Halloween weekend. Well, last weekend, UND police reported that 2 people found it leaning up against a dumpster behind the Southgate Casino Bar and Grill.
The work does have some damage, but museum officials believe it can be repaired. The museum started a GoFundMe to replace the sculpture, but now they'll close it and then use the funds to fix it. It had been in the garden since the late 1990s without incidents.
Also ended up at that place and not sure how I did. Well, new this morning, the discovery of human remains is delaying a massive sewer upgrade. In Evansville, Indiana, the storage system is going where an old church used to stand.
Leah Ponder reports that it turns out that's the site of a cemetery that's more than a century old.
An Evansville water and sewer utility construction contract was amended and approved for over $566,000 for the Toyota Trinity Stormwater Park project, more than half of which is going towards excavating remains. Andrew Martin, Director of Operations for Cultural Resource Analysts, Inc., says this isn't rare, but the process isn't free.
It's not unheard of to have dozens of graves in a city cemetery. Even at that time, although it may have only been a river town, it was growing, and certainly people were living and dying here. So they had to put them somewhere. and this cemetery was the most likely spot.
Officials say the cemetery is said to be built in the early 1800s by the early residents of Evansville. Archaeologists for Department of Natural Resources Kathy Drager-Williams and EWSU officials say there are specific rules and guidelines they must follow.
As part of state law, anytime you find human remains, you must stop and call our office. And coroner and law enforcement, we all work together. And so yes, there may be more. And as long as there's more excavation in this area, there's always the potential of finding more graves.
The contractor and the archaeologists that we have been very expeditious. This is really, went a lot faster than, we kind of thought, but it's a process, and we're kind of in the middle of it.
The water utility company approved a 178-day extension on the project, and 58 of those days are set aside for the removal and documentation of the cemetery remains. Martin says they've removed 63 of the remains so far, but there are still 5 in the ground.
So it's not surprising that there's that many graves. It's what is kind of surprising is that they haven't been moved since then, or disturbed by other activity, construction activity, in those 150, almost 200 years.
Drager-Williams says archaeologists knew a cemetery was in the area, but they didn't know where because it wasn't marked. And she says over the years, people have developed roads and buildings around and on top of it.
You never know what you're standing on top of.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dead people piling up,
Yeah.
There's more of them than there are of us.
So if you're heading out the door, here's your fast forecast if you want to go stand somewhere and wonder.
Ew, we're back in 2 minutes.
3, 2, 1. If I 3, 2, 1, that's when I was counting down.
You're talking about it this morning on social media.
These are the stories you're making the big buzz today. The Justice Department has charged actor Jay Johnston for his alleged role in the January 6th Capitol riots. Charging documents are accusing the arrested development star of participating in the tunnel attack.
They allege he used a stolen police riot shield to help a crowd assault officers at the Lower West Terrace entrance. The documents contain a purported text from Johnston to his friend talking about his involvement that day. Johnston faces charges of interfering with law enforcement, disorderly conduct, and impeding passage through Capitol grounds. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, a lot of cases wending their way through the courts.
Yes. More Hollywood news, a bit lighter. Bryan Cranston has announced that his 2026 will be a year away from Hollywood. The Breaking Bad star told British GQ in an interview that he has future plans that do not include Tinseltown. Cranston says he hopes to be spending time with his wife, Robin Dearden, and moved to France. He says his wife has adjusted her life based on his, and he wants to level that out.
Oh, that's very sweet. The actor is adamant he will not be reading scripts or taking phone calls for possible work. He says it's not going to happen tomorrow, but it could occur in 3 years when he turns 70 years old. I would have guessed. He looks fantastic. Cranston may also shut down his production company, Moonshot Entertainment, and sell half his Dos Hombres tequila brand during this time. He co-owns the tequila brand with his Breaking Bad co-star, Aaron Paul. Very famously good business partners.
There'd only be uno hombre.
I mean, he could be like a silent partner, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't want to break up that duo for very long.
No. I read that he is considering a Malcolm in the Middle revival reunion thing.
Really?
I want to see that happen.
Because the kids would be all grown up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frankie Muniz is a race car driver now.
That would be fun. They need to work that into the script.
Yeah,
if they do
I love that show when I was a kid. Well, a baby deer on Long Island accidentally went for a dip in a swimming pool and needed to be rescued.
CNN's Jeannie Mose has a story with legs, wobbly ones.
Move over, Bambi. There's a new baby deer to fawn over.
Mariah, where are you going to be at?
Fall in the pool. I'm going to have to go get her.
To the rescue, 12-year-old Anthony Masitis.
I was actually going to think of jumping in because I thought she was going to go into the deep end.
But a heroic plunge wasn't necessary for this Long Island animal lover.
But when you get her out, just let her go because the mother's not going to be happy. Go ahead.
She fell in not just once, but twice. Anthony fished her out again.
She was shivering,
A newborn with legs so wobbly they refused to hold her up.
Oh my
She could swim better than she could walk.
She kept making noises as if calling Mom.
She was kind of like a meh, meh.
Let's get away from her. Let the mother come take care of her.
Online posters got a kick out of Greg's New York accent.
She's looking for the mother.
Did the mother ever show up?
The mother. Yes, the mother did show up, yes.
Mother and Fawn reunited a couple of hours later. Posters kept saying it's like Tony Soprano and his ducks, a comparison Greg found funny. Tony in his bathrobe, in his pool with the ducks.
Look, they're trying to fly.
And when they actually did fly away,
Do you feel depressed? Since the ducks left.
Tony had an anxiety attack and collapsed. Neither one of you had anxiety attacks.
Now.
The only anxious one here was the one without a leg
Mariah.
to stand on. Ginny Mose, CNN, New York.
And what are you buzzing about this morning? We'd love to hear about it on Facebook, Twitter, and of course on Instagram. And of course, you can keep up with your KVRR Weather Authority on our Facebook as well. And we do have one KVRR pic to show you this morning, but it's a pretty good pic. This is a relaxing afternoon. This was taken over in Moorhead. This is the Red River, and you can look at it from either side. But this side it was taken on in Moorhead, but a very nice photo. I like going to this area. It's a very cool area to sit by the river there. But if you have anything you would like to send in, you can submit it to KVRR.com. Click on the Morning Show tab. You can also keep up with your KVRR Weather Authority, of course, and send those videos there. But if you're heading out to enjoy your weekend, temperatures in the 70s this weekend, so you definitely want to head out and enjoy the cooler, more comfortable weather while it is sticking around over our weekend.
It's a great weekend to hit a few on the fairways.
Oh, it is.
Oh, thank you very much, Mariah. The Moorhead Dairy Queen is a local institution, a hidden gem of the valley.
Oh, truly. But that gem and its history might not stay so hidden anymore. We will see how the iconic ice cream spot is in the spotlight this morning. Next.
The U.S. Supreme Court sides with whiskey brand Jack Daniels in its trademark fight against a dog toy maker. In a unanimous decision, the nation's highest court ruled that the First Amendment did not protect a dog chew toy that parodies the liquor bottle from a trademark infringement lawsuit. The chew toy from VIP Products, called Bad Spaniels, mimicked the whiskey brand style and featured several poop-themed jokes.
Jack Daniels was not amused. The brand argued the toy could confuse customers and ruin its reputation. The Supreme Court's decision overturns a ruling from a lower court that backed VIP Products. The case has been sent back to a lower court for further review.
I mean, does Jack Daniels have some gilded reputation? Is it like Johnny Walker Blue or whatever the fancy ones are?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like they've got a pretty dignified sort of history, particularly in where it's manufactured. They're proud of the tradition.
I mean, yeah, it's tradition, but I don't think anyone's confusing
with a super high-end
dog,
kind of
or
brand.
again, a dog chew toy isn't going to make me think less of the whiskey.
Let's put it this way: Jack Daniels probably doesn't feel like it needs the publicity.
No, I mean, it
That
probably
might be
doesn't.
what it is, yeah.
It probably doesn't. Well, you might want to get those chew toys if you can before they're pulled from the shelves.
Right.
Yeah, you definitely want to. You definitely want to head out to the store this morning, maybe enjoy those temperatures while we have them. And we are seeing some clouds this morning. Temperatures as of right now right around 72 degrees, and we're seeing some pretty light winds from the south and southeast, right around 5 miles per hour. But our weather today will continue to get better, but we are seeing, again, a pretty nice start to the morning with some sun this afternoon. But eventually, we are going to see some isolated storms and showers, mostly working around our Fargo-Moorhead area. So if you're west of the valley, heading towards Ellingdale and along I-94, you're going to run into some of those showers there, across the Devil's Lake Basin, and even into portions of Park Rapids. So again, mostly the showers working around Fargo as we head throughout your Friday. But here is a quick look at your KVRR Weather Authority 7-day forecast for your Saturday. Temperatures in the 70s, and even the 70s continue into Sunday. Much cooler for your Sunday afternoon, but still comfortable enough for you to head out and enjoy this cooler weekend before we reach the 90s once again.
And your dilly bar will just not melt fast.
Yes.
Perfect.
Well, thanks, Mariah. Family Feud is next. Get all your news, weather, and sports on KVRR.com and the Weather Authority app.
That's right. And check out KVRR Local News tonight at 6 and 9. We'll see you Monday morning.
Have a good weekend.